Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would sit down today and just do something a bit different and just have a chat to you about life lately, what's been going on, what we've been up to. You'll have to excuse my hay fever, by the way. It is, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen me moaning about it for most of the week, but it's off the scale. But I also think I have a touch of sinus infection as well, so that's delightful. So I was having a think about what to film for this week and next week, and it occurred to me that I don't feel like I make enough of this kind of video where I just share with you just ramblings really of what's going on in our lives. So yeah, I'll try and do these sort of semi-regularly. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see, because I'd always love to have your feedback. So things have been good lately. It's been a bit of a weird couple of months though. I feel like since we moved into this house, and I'll tell you a bit more about the house situation a bit later on, but since we moved into this house, things seem to have got a lot busier. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just that the time of year or I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. I'm not sure what the reason is, but things just feel a bit more chaotic, and I feel like I'm chasing my tail all the time and things are running away with me. And also we seem to have been really ill, all of us, since moving here. I don't know if it's something to do with the house. That's a creepy thought. But yeah, we've all been ill pretty much constantly since we moved here, on and off. Either all together or one of us. But that's kind of taken its toll as well. And I feel like yeah, we need a bit of a break from just not feeling great. We've just had our wedding anniversary. It was our 11-year wedding anniversary, which I say every year, but it's just crazy. I can't believe we've been married for that long. We, in typical fashion for us, we forgot about it until like the day before, and we never make a big fuss. We did maybe on our first wedding anniversary, but we're not ones to kind of go all out for our wedding anniversaries. But he did, bless him, he went off to walk the dog in the morning, and he came back with a giant bunch of beautiful flowers and a lovely card. So 10 husband points to Dan. I don't know, I think at the moment we're both really aware of how little time we get, just the two of us. Not that we need a great deal of time, just the two of us, but Marnie's sleep, which I will touch on again in a minute, is not great at the moment. So we're not even really getting our evenings. Obviously with 4 kids, we don't get out a great deal, just the two of us, and that's fine. I think we're homebodies anyway. We enjoy being at home, and quite often some of our nicest evenings are when all the kids are asleep and we just sit and chat and listen to music and have a glass of wine, and that's brilliant. And those are some of my favourite evenings that we have together. But yeah, I think we could do with, I think we'll try and plan hopefully soon a night out, nowhere exciting, just down the road to the local pub, and have just an evening, just the two of us. And we'll try not to talk about the kids for a couple of hours and just, yeah, just have a chat and not have to worry about the bedtime routine or Marnie waking up, and yeah, just enjoy some time, just the two of us. I think we kind of need that at the moment. So speaking of Marnie and her sleep, I don't know what we've done, but we've broken this one. She's definitely the worst of our 4 for sleep. I say that, I do wonder whether it's just because we are currently in it with her, that it feels like the worst one, because I can't really remember the others as clearly, but it definitely feels like she's the most challenging. She's funny because she will go off to sleep, okay, usually, but something always wakes her up. At least once, sometimes twice a night. Now she's 11 months old and she's still not once slept through the night, and I'm fairly sure all of them had started sleeping through by this point. Yeah, I'm fairly sure they had. And I'm not fixated, it's not like I'm fixated on she needs to sleep through the night, but the thing I find difficult with Marnie is we never know when we go to bed what kind of a night we're gonna have. Like last night was horrendous. It was just awful, you know, because I'm not feeling great anyway, and you know when you're constantly like just about to fall into a really deep spell of sleep and then something wakes you up, and it feels almost a little bit like torture. It's like the kind of jarring sensation, like pulling you back out of sleep. It's horrible, and that happened a couple of times last night, and last night I really needed and wanted a really good night's sleep, so that was tough. But the night before that, she had a really good night. I put her down in her cot. She nodded off, I think, about 7 p.m, which is good for her. And she slept really, really well through till maybe 1 a.m, which is pretty normal for her. Then I brought her into our bed, and then she went straight back to sleep pretty much within a minute or two and slept right through till the morning. And that's usually fine because I don't tend to struggle to go back to sleep, so I can cope with that. But last night she woke up at about midnight, just as I was getting into a really deep sleep, and she stayed awake for what felt like hours. It was at least an hour and a half, and it was just pure torture because she wouldn't stay in her cot. She would cry for me to pick her up, and when I picked her up and put her in our bed, she was standing up on the headboard and climbing on my head. I was terrified she was going to go down the end of the bed and just fall off the end. And yeah, it was just awful. So in the end, she just exhausted herself out and went back to sleep. But then she woke up this morning at 5:30. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what we can do to get her into a better sleep pattern. We haven't really done anything different to what we did with the other 3. She's just a different baby, and she's definitely a tricky one when it comes to sleep. Other than that though, she's doing brilliantly. I love this age. She is 11 months. She's 1 next week, which I can't think about for too long because it just makes me all the feels. But she is just the cutest thing. She's not really saying a lot. She says dada and mama, and we think she's trying to say Dylan. She says did when he comes home from school, so we think that's what she's trying to say. And she says boob, which we think was her first word actually. She said that really early on when she was really tired and wanted to go to sleep. She would say boob, so that's funny. But yeah, she's doing brilliantly. She's not walking yet. She's pulling herself up and she's getting steadier and steadier on her feet by the day. She looks like she's not that far off trying to move along, but she's not even cruising on things yet. She just stands there. She loves her walker though. We got Dylan's old walker out of the loft and cleaned it up because it had been up there a long time, but she's loving it. She scoots around the house in that, and because this house is much bigger than our old one, she's got loads of space to zoom around, and that's her favourite thing to do at the moment. What else can I tell you about Marnie? She eats pretty well. She's not, I wouldn't say she's massively into her food. She loves her Weetabix in the morning. She gets excited for that, and if I try and give her something else as an alternative, it's just no, it has to be Weetabix. She loves it. Lunchtime, she doesn't really eat a great deal. I tend to give her finger foods at lunchtime. Grated cheese, scrambled egg, little sandwiches, some ham, fruit, that kind of thing. And she will eat bits of it. A lot of it goes on the floor, like on purpose. A lot of it goes on the floor by accident as well. But she's not massively hungry at lunchtime, and then she eats a big tea. So for tea, she still really enjoys having mashed food. So I give her like sweet potato mashed in with some chili or something that we've had ourselves that I've kind of mixed in with sweet potato for her, and she really enjoys that. And she'll have bits off our plate as well, like a bit of broccoli or whatever we're having, followed by a yogurt, and she loves yogurts as well. So that's pretty much what she eats in a day. I'll probably do a video on it in the next couple of weeks, just in case you're interested. But she's doing well with food, but I wouldn't say she's got a massive appetite yet. My other 3 kids are doing brilliantly. They're all obviously still at school. We're in the last half term of the year, and we're in Dylan's last half term of primary school, which is another thing I can't think about too much because I just get really emotional about it. Thank God he's my eldest, and I still have other little ones in primary school, because when it comes around to Marnie's turn to leave primary school, I dread to think I'll be an emotional wreck. I'm bad enough with Dylan. He is ready though. He's really excited. He is a little bit nervous and a little bit apprehensive about what it will be like. Will there be bullies? Will, you know, the homework be too much? Will he be able to cope? All that kind of thing. But I think for him, the excitement is more than the nerves, which is brilliant, which is just how it should be. The school he's going to have a brilliant transition program, so he's been back and forth there loads and loads, so he's really familiar with the place, and he just thinks it's really cool and he can't wait to go there. So I'm really excited for him. The whole starting secondary school thing presents other like parental issues for me that I'm trying to get my head around in terms of giving him that little bit more independence and stuff like that. So that's something that I'm working on at the moment. Doesn't come easily to me. I'm naturally quite, I've said before, I'm quite a clingy mum. I like to know where he is. I don't like the idea of him going off somewhere, you know, on his own and me not being right next to him. I do struggle with that, and I know I need to like let go a little bit and chill out. So yes, it's going to be a learning curve for both of us, I think. Merrin is doing brilliantly. I feel like she's grown up just loads in the last couple of months. Just all of a sudden, she seems a lot more mature, and she's always been very mature for her age and very sensible. But she went off on her first like residential school trip, was it a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, and maybe it is like since that, I think that gave her that little bit of independence and she really enjoyed it. Merrin is my rock. She is she's such a help to me. With Marnie, she just wants to help. Like if I ask her to help me with something around the house, lay the table, help with dinner, I don't know, go and get something, she is really helpful and wants to be. She doesn't do it under protest. She does it because she wants to help me out. And some days I just think I don't know what I'd do without her, because she will watch Marnie for me while I sort Aiden out or wash his hair or whatever. She's just brilliant. And when she wasn't here for that couple of days when she went on the school trip, I missed her so much. I was just so glad to have her back. She's going up into year 6 now in September, so she's gearing up for that, and I'm pleased for her that Dylan will be there already. I think it's nice for them that they'll have each other when they're both up there together. It's obviously a little bit more nerve-wracking for Dylan, kind of blazing a trail, being the first one to go up, but yeah, I think she will definitely, come this time next year, she will definitely be raring to go and ready for the changes of going to secondary school without a doubt. So Aiden is a whirlwind at the moment. He always is a whirlwind. He's a whirlwind of cuteness and chaos and mischief. That's the best way to describe Aiden. He's like a Tasmanian devil. He's adorable, and he gets away with, and has got away with, a lot because he's so cute. But it's getting to the point where, like, I hesitate to call it naughty, because like I suppose some people would class it as naughty, but sometimes he goes looking for mischief. He wants to push his like brother and sister's buttons to get a reaction. So little things like he'll be sat next to them watching his iPad on the sofa, and they'll be sat doing something next to him, and he will just tap like his toe on their leg repeatedly until they say, "Stop doing that, Aiden," and then he'll stop for like 2 seconds, and then he'll start again and he'll do that repeatedly until they just go, "Oh, will you just stop?" And then like all hell breaks loose. He does that kind of thing, and seems to have developed a real knack for selective hearing. I'm fairly sure his hearing is fine because he's been tested in school and stuff. Maybe I should take him separately, but you'll call him and he's just away with the fairies. But then that's how I know. I do know he can hear me, because then eventually when I go, "Aiden," he'll look at me like, "What? I know, I heard you the first time," sort of thing. So he will do things in his own time, and he's well aware that he's winding people up, and for some reason at the moment he seems to get a little bit of a kick out of it, which some days I don't care. I just find it quite amusing, as long as it, you know, he's not being naughty. If he's just being a little bit mischievous, I quite like that side of his personality. He is a little like monkey. But there are other days where my patience levels aren't at their best, shall we say, that it can become really wearing. So at the moment I'm trying to kind of ride it out and hope that he just stops doing it. As I said, some days he's more mischievous than others. I think if he gets bored, that is when he really like plays up. For instance, Dan was doing some work outside a couple of weekends ago, And Aidan is like his big sister in that he wants to help. He's very keen to please and keen to be involved in stuff around the house. So Dan was building a pair of doors for like our garage, and it was quite a big job, they're big doors. So Aidan said, can I help, Daddy? And so Dan was like, yeah, sure, thinking maybe he'd be out there for half an hour, potter with a few like nails, and then he'd come back in and do something else. But he stayed out there all day from 9 o'clock in the morning till about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, just loving life. He just loved being involved and helping his dad to do this project. So we helped him to make the doors, fit them, paint them, and he just, Dan kept saying to him, do you want to go in, Aidan? Are you bored? No, I want to help. So if he is busy and involved in things, he's just a joy, and there was no mischief that day at all. So I think I need to make more of an effort to keep him busy, but that's hard, you know, when you've got 4 kids, and especially with the baby, she takes up a lot of my attention, obviously. So I have to keep reminding myself, you know, what's Aidan doing? Is he bored? Shall I get him to help me do something? And obviously some things he's more keen to help with than others. So helping Daddy to build stuff probably ranks higher than helping Mummy to peel potatoes. So we'll have to see how that one goes. But he, as a whole, is an absolute delight. He's such a sweet boy. I just adore him. But he does have this little mischievous streak, which we have to keep an eye on. So I think I've literally told you about everyone in the family. Oh no, I haven't actually. I haven't told you about Bailey, our dog. She, oh bless her, she's 14 next month. Yeah, July next month. And she's gone, she's not been great for a while. She's a lab, and she's covered in lumps and bumps, and we took her to the vet ages ago and more recently as well. And they said that it's very common for Labradors to get like fatty lumps and growths and things like that, and not to worry too much. But if they appeared to be bothering her, she was in any pain, that they could do a biopsy or treat her or things like that. But she's so old, I don't think she'd survive the anaesthetic, to be honest. So we made the decision at the time they weren't bothering her. She still was walking and eating and, you know, her normal self. She just had these lumps on her. So we made the decision to just leave it be and hope that they weren't something more sinister, which up until very recently has been fine and definitely the right decision. We haven't put her through anything unnecessarily. She's just existed as normal with us and she's been fine. But in the last week, she's gone downhill massively. She's always had stiff back legs, so she's a bit, you know, limpy when she first gets up in the morning, but she was still able to go for a walk. But the last day before yesterday, she isn't able to put much weight on her front leg or her back legs for any length of time. She's lying down all day, she's sleeping a lot. She is still eating and she's still in control of her functions and stuff. But I know, like Dan and I were talking about it last night, and he said, I'm just gonna have to take her to the vet because it looks like she's not crying in pain, but then dogs don't, do they? They put up with it. So we wouldn't know, I don't think, if she was in pain, but she must be because she's really struggling to get up and down out of her bed. Yeah, and she's been losing weight for a while, which the vet did say that could be to do with, like, we don't know what's going on the inside. She's got these lumps on the outside, but there might be more going on inside that we can't find out about unless we do some like proper tests and stuff. So the vet said, you know, she probably, that's why she's losing weight, but she seems to have lost even more this week. I don't think she's going to have much longer left, and it makes me really sad because she was our first baby. We had her before Dylan, and like our lives revolved around her, as they often do when like you have a dog, and especially before you have kids. And she's just always, you know, she's been with us for 14 years. But definitely since Aidan and Marnie came along and our lives are so busy with 4 kids, she just gets overlooked, you know. She's still, like, Dan loves taking her out for walks. He really enjoys doing that every day. But she's she's always under our feet, so we get frustrated with her, or at least she was when we were in the old house, which was much smaller, and we didn't have so much space in the old house, so she was always under our feet, and we were always, you know, oh, Bailey, move, and now I feel, looking back, so mean, having been frustrated with her like that, and perhaps we haven't given her as much attention as we could have or should have in the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit emotional about that as well this week, because I don't think she's got much longer left, to be honest. But I know if we take her to the vet, they'll just say that that's that. I don't think they're going to say that they can do anything, because she's so old and so frail now. I just don't think she'd survive any treatment. So yeah, it's really sad, and we just, neither of us want to make that call and go, yeah, I think we need to take her to the vet, but also we don't want to be cruel and have her suffer either, so it's really difficult. Moving on, before I upset everybody, just a quick update on the house. A few of you have either commented on my videos or messaged me on Instagram and things to ask if I'm going to do a house tour. I had fully intended to do a house tour. We've been here a while now. I don't even know how long, maybe 2 months? Not quite 2 months. And I always intended to do one, but because we are only here temporarily, I always felt like, I don't know, I think we feel like, at the moment we think we might be here for another 6 months. So I haven't done things in the house the way I would if I knew we were staying. So I always feel like a house tour is nice when summer's finished, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe you'd rather just see it as it is. If you don't know the backstory to why we're living here and why we're only here for 6 months or so, I'll link a video which explains more about it. But in a nutshell, we're moving here temporarily while Dan works on the house that we will eventually be moving into, and it's all through his work. Someone that he works for owns the properties, and we are fortunate enough to be able to live in them. They are beautiful, both houses are beautiful cottages. The one that he's working on that we will be moving into is a house that Dan fell in love with coincidentally when we first moved to this town, and he saw it and he didn't even know who owned it at the time, and he said, I would love to get my hands on that cottage and do it up and live in it. That would be my dream, because there's something about it that he felt drawn to. And weirdly, over time, he ended up working with the man who owns the house and who owns the house we're in now. And yeah, it's just a bizarre twist of fate, but we're hoping to move into there, all going well and all going to plan. We're hoping to move into that house early in the new year. So this house is just an amazing place to be in the meantime. It gives us so much more space, more bathrooms, just more living space, more space to breathe, and for everyone to have a little area to chill out in where we're not all on top of each other. And the garden is huge. It's, I don't know, 5 times bigger than our old garden. And we've got a little paved side area where the kids can go on their scooters and their bikes and their go-kart, and it's just given us so much more space, and we are absolutely loving it. It's just a lovely house, and we feel very lucky to be here. So I think that's about it. I think I've rambled on for well over half an hour. I'm going to struggle to cut this down, and if you made it through to the end of the video, then thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about life for us at the moment and what's been going on, how we're all doing. As I said earlier, I love watching videos like this, so I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, thank you so much for your support and thank you for watching. Do give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love you to stick around. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next one.